round number 5. And I'm excited about this one. It's Barber Motorsport Park from Alabama, USA. 150-kilometre sprint round once again. Of course, don't forget the broadcast and the qualifying will come your way for the Super Series. It starts at 9:40 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, with the main race kicking off at 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And so far to date, Dan, this is the shortest track we have been on.
It's a short track, but a very challenging track at the same time. There's a lot of circuit elevation, especially as you run down through turn 1, out around the carousel of 3. And then the big ticket item, and we're going to see a lot of passing go down through there, is turn 7, 8, and 9. It's a really tight technical sort of little roller coaster section that puts you onto the back straight before you head down through the chicane. So should be very interesting. Obviously, we are going to get a chance to have a bit of a quick look at the lap momentarily, but really looking forward to seeing what the race is going to deliver. The pit entrance is going to be a big thing to watch out for, because you enter again right on the racing line. So similar to what we saw at Brazil, could open up a bit of a tricky spot for the guys entering.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see how they come back onto turn number 1, 2 on the racing line. Like you said, another tricky pit entry and pit exit. But, Norrie, the Pure Driving School lap of Barber Motorsport Park, and this week, somehow someone let you in the pits and someone left their garage open. So who let you into who didn't lock their garage, and who let you into their car?
Well, it was the guys down at Henry James Racing, and they left the garage unlocked and left the keys in the car. And I thought, hey, the safety car is a bit boring. I'm going to try the V8. And so I jumped in the Commodore. Yes, it's a Commodore, but it is all right. And I had a spin, and here's the lap. G'day everyone, and welcome aboard the AOSC track preview for Barber Motorsports Park. Norrie at the helm, and I'm going to try and show you how we get our big V8s around this tight, twisty circuit. So join me as I get around the full length of both Barber Motorsports Park. Turn 16, the final corner, as we lead on to the straight. You want to use a little bit of the curve there on the right. It's only a short, sharp run to turn 1, but you'll need everything you can. Back a couple of gears and tipping in to the left. Now this becomes uphill and the right, which is turn 2. It's the carousel. It's a long right hand to this one. You really got to watch your drive traction so you're not overexcited in the rear of the car and getting wheel spin. Cresting turn 4 there. You want to use a bit of curve on the left, and then you want to go back a couple of gears right down here at the hairpin. There's a big massive spider there, so you want to try and avoid that as best you can. Grab a gear mid-corner and try and minimize your wheel spin on exit, as you try and minimize wheel spin over the bumps as well on the run through to the corkscrew. Bit of curve on the right, bit of curve on the left, back to first mid-corner, and then round the last bit of it there. Don't overexcite the rear wheels, because that will hurt you in the long run. And then you want a short, sharp shoot back to third, and you're going to use a little bit of curve through the S's there. And this leads you into the straight that then becomes the tunnel. This is 12 and 13 through here. And a little bit of curve on the right, and save yourself a little bit of drive traction for the left curve. Coming around 14 and then on towards 15. That's your pit end exit on the left. So you want to be able to use that in mid-race. Coming around turn 16, and this is the final corner. Another short, sharp shoot up to the finish line. And that is a lap of Barber Motorsports Park.
Well, Norrie, it's a lap in a Commodore, which we thought we'd never see in a Commodore before, but we got you in one. What are some of the other tricky factors to this track that people are going to have to contend with, and what are they going to have to look up when they set the suspension up and look for throughout the race and monitor?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a Commodore, but it actually goes all right. The main problem here is the pit entry. You exit off and then down the hill, and then pit entry actually starts down the hill and around the corner. So they've really got to watch their pit entry speed to make sure they don't dart off into the fence. Mainly when it comes to setting up setting up the car for the circuit, you've got the carousel, the hairpin, the corkscrew, the S's, and the tunnel, all massive undulation changes. So you've got to make sure the car gets over the bumps in the circuit really smoothly.
Yeah, the other big thing too we're going to have to keep an eye on, obviously, is the traction that the guys are going to get down out of turn 3, as I was saying, off the back of the carousel. It's going to be rather tricky, especially on the cold tyres. The other big one's going to be the rise up over turn 4 before you head down through the hairpin as well. It's a blind entry into that corner, so could see a few guys possibly find their way off in towards the guardrails over there. The other big one too is going to be right at the conclusion of the lap with the braking zone down through 14 and 15, where obviously you're considering the pit entry as well. It's very easy to carry an inside wheel and throw yourself off through that corner of the circuit. So it's going to be a tough one. The car balance is going to be really tricky. Pit stop strategy is going to be really interesting for this one because we know it's a short lap. They're not going to use a lot of fuel. They're not going to use a lot of tyre we don't expect. So for the guys right down the back of the field, if they need to get out of the way, I think similar to what we saw at Phillip Island, expect them in rather early to try that alternate strategy.
And the other thing to take into effect is really that the safety car could come out. We could get a safety car at any point throughout the race. We saw it at Phillip Island. It bunched everyone back up, and we saw a lot of incidents from that and a lot of positions, people pushed out, they got pushed off the shoulders onto the grass, lots of things like that happening. How much impact could a safety car make on this short circuit? It's 39 laps. You get a few extra laps due to the distance, but, there's a lot to contend with.
Oh, it'll be huge. I mean, it's going to be, depending on where you come into the cycle, if you haven't had your pit stop yet, you almost get a big get out of jail free card. You're not having to put anywhere near the same amount of fuel as required if it was green all the way through. But the big thing will be for the guys that do take that early pit stop, if they find themselves just about to get lapped, they're going to get a free pass to come around and going to gain a fistful of positions as a benefit for that as well.
Yeah, well, guys, it's been another big show, and we've had plenty of time to go over what is going to be Barber Motorsport Park. Don't forget, this week we will get underway at 9:40 p.m. for our qualifying and our broadcast, 9:40 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. 10 p.m. the main race will kick off. Don't forget, of course, if you haven't got to the YouTube channel already, AOSC TV, make sure you give that one a click and subscribe because you don't want to miss out anything that's happening. So the race is starting Friday, the 12th of February. Race 180 in AOSC 10. Can't wait to see what's going to come to our way from round number 5 at Barber Motorsport Park, Alabama, USA. We'll see you soon. Well, hello and welcome to the AOSC 10 Friday night race, and of course it is round number 5, coming away from Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama, USA. And it's Matty Cavity here, joined by Matthew Norris and Daniel Leake. Welcome back, boys. It's Friday night, 150 kilometre an hour sprint race. I nearly said per hour like I normally do. And yep, it's going to be short, sharp and fun tonight at Barber Motorsport Park.
Absolutely. Good evening, Matt, and all the viewers tuning in. Great to have you back for round 5. Very tight technical circuit, as we touched on in the pre-race show during the week, and already some very quick drivers out here. So we're in for a cracking night tonight, and only one split for all these guys as well.
Yeah, Norrie, 55 guys, drivers, I should say. I don't know if they're all men. So far, it looks like they all are, but 55 drivers to get around this track, and we're all talking about it earlier. We've all got on this week and tried to do a few laps of this as a commentator. This one is a tricky track.
Absolutely is. G'day, Matty. G'day, everyone. And it's fantastic to be at this tight twisted track, as there's a car around there in the background. And it's situation normal at the top. James Scott and Corey Shepherd leading the way.
Here we go. Big shout out to our sponsor course for the AOSD Season 10. It is race 180, but a big thanks to Jinx Shifters, our naming right sponsor. Also, AJ Insurance Services, and we will have the impact of the round in our pre-race show. You would have seen that. I also need to thank simrigs.com, Sydney Computers, Sixth Gear Imagery, and Race Circuit Art Australia. And of course, we couldn't give you all these beautiful shots without track cams for gourmets. And big shout out to Nick Hasler, who's sitting in the background, our race director for tonight, who is giving us all the camera angles as we go through and making sure we can see exactly what is going on screen, as right now we are 4:45 into qualifying. So nearly 5 minutes into this 20-minute qualifying session. Pre-qualifying's done, and guess what? 55 entries. We've thrown them all in. Put every name in the hat, let them out for 20 minutes, and let's see where they end up. And James Scott has already gone and done a 1:21, which is not easy to do, Dan. Didn't get anywhere near that today when I was having a look at this racetrack.
Oh, no, look, between you and I, we were pretty terrible at our laps out there. But, I mean, looking at what we've seen so far from the qualifying session just before we jumped into the main race one, James Scott already picked up 0.2 of a second on what he was able to put down for his quickest lap. So, Logitech Altus G definitely found something in the setup tonight. A little quicker at the moment by 0.3 up on Corey Shepherd, but we're going to have a really tight compressed field. The number of guys currently sitting in that 122 range is really impressive right now, and that's only going to bode well for the start of this race.
Such a short track with only 3.83 kilometres, Norrie. Is there going to be much chance for drafting on this one? Because when I did some laps around there, the way you come up over the hills and the tight turns and how much braking you got to do, I don't think drafting is going to be a real advantage in this qualifying.
Oh, there's every chance for drafting in the V8s, but the problem is when you've got those blind corners is do you look at the rear wing of the car ahead, or do you just blindly commit to the corner and hope the thing's going to be there at the end of the thing? The track is determined by it's not really a speed track, it's more a agility, because it is left and right quite a bit.
There's going to be some real interesting sections to this one. We did discuss them off air, like the corkscrew is going to be interesting, where you've got to get right down into first gear as you sort of go over and come through. The carousel at the start, turn 1, 2, 3, that's going to be a nice little long one. You sort of come out of turn 1 on the left, then you have to go right and feather it around there. And as you come up over 4, it's really easy to buzz the tyres at that point now. And the track isn't smooth there either, which is why it does bounce around and you get a bit of tyre spin. So you're going to have to be very gingerly on the throttle tonight. And you see Brian Borg up on screen. He's actually had a little bit of minor surgery today, so he's out of hospital straight into the sim rig. So good to see he could make it out for some laps, and we'll be interested to see how he goes. Currently sitting, I'm just going to go and see where he's sitting in our championship at the moment, because he is sitting in 4th place at the moment from memory.
Yeah, and currently down in 14th as far as qualifying is concerned. So it's slowed him down a little bit. We do normally see him up in that top 5 range, but it's still early days, and no doubt will find his way through as the session progresses. That little area where we were just watching him go through there, another big tricky section too, that these guys are going to have to negotiate with that second chicane and out to the back end of the lap as well. A lot of undulation change there.
He's just coming off a bit of anaesthetic, I think, for Borgie. But as we go on with Adam Briggs in position number 28, the time's ticking too. We're already 7.5 minutes into this 20-minute qualifying. You see the back end a little bit loose here under brakes. Really, the undulation change on this track under brakes at the same time throws it a lot of weight off those back wheels, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and I mean we're already starting to see that with the laps at the moment. Just watching Briggs down through the little corkscrew section, they're not able to get enough traction and nose turned in, and I guess that's somewhat hindering his lap performance at the moment. He's well down the order from where we would traditionally see him, down in 28th with his current lap at the moment. there's a few other guys that we normally see at that front end too, well down the order. Michael Taliancic has not set a great lap, currently sitting down in 35th position. And we say not a bad lap. It was still a 123, so they're only a couple of a second and a bit off, but just trying to find that clear bit of real estate to get these laps in is really tricky for these guys right now.
You see the aggressive flashing on the lights there from Briggs. He is 7th in our championship, and he needs to get this lap done to make it count.
Yes, he does need to make that happen. You're very right there, Norrie. It'll be very interesting to see how he goes tonight as well. As a bit of a reset there for Adam Briggs. Obviously, wants to get the car back into the pits and get a fresh lap out. Andrew Dyson, though, is sitting up there in 4th position, so he's strong once again. Corey Shepherd in 2nd. No surprise, it's James Scott and Corey Shepherd for 1 and 2. With Shepherd, still got to find a couple of tenths of a second to get closer to James Scott. He's, what is he in hundreds? He's 24 hundredths of a second behind him at the moment. No, I'm counting the wrong way, mate. I'm counting backwards. He's actually 26 hundredths of a second behind him. So we head on with Brett Hobson at the moment with Synergy Sim Racing entry as he gets around and starts this lap. Just goes into turn number 2 now. So this will be a flying lap for him. Good to see so many people in the background just moving out of the way, and that's going to be one of the really tricky entry points, isn't it? As they come out of pits onto that turn 1 where everyone's trying to change direction, as it looks like he's going to give up on this one. Tom Freer now, let's bring him up on screen and see how consistent he can be around this. We know last week he got into a bit of a tussle with his teammates and they turned each other around. We'll be looking for a nice clean run tonight, but I know with this short track, so many turns, it's going to be very hard for him to stay out of trouble. So if he can hold on right up on the curbs, and that's the other thing in qualifying, isn't it, Dan, is that there are certain limits in iRacing, and with so much curb usage we can have tonight to cut some of these corners, if you make a mistake as he goes off. Bria, we give him the camera curse, and he's saying hello to the flag marshal. Bit too close.
And that's, well, a bit too close to the edge, but that's one way to discount your lap there. And as you say, with the track confines so tight here, I mean, you've got grass everywhere around. You run that little bit wide, you risk throwing away what could be a really good lap. So have a look here, Dylan Rudd, well up the order. Currently sitting in P3 at the moment, only 3,000 behind Corey Shepherd. So this is a nice run for Rudd. Good to see him well up the field, and just gets the nose of that car through turn 2 there.
That in the background, they went off on the brakes big time. So it's good to see Borgie's made a couple of positions. He's up into 16 now, so he has improved just a little bit. No, 122.98 for Borgie is not a bad time to get around here at Barber. But seeing back there in 16 just goes to show how fast everyone else is. James Scott, like he's about to reset. We head on board with Corey Shepherd, who is 26 hundredths of a second behind. In the qualifying time, at the moment sitting in 2nd position. Dylan Rudd just behind him. Good to see Rudd has made it up there into 3rd. Watch this from Shepherd as he goes around. A little bit of traffic now, and it's not a big track, like we say, 3.83 kilometres, the shortest of the 150k tracks that we've done, or races, the shortest track out of every race we've done so far this season. So the Mr. Antenna Ford Mustang, there we go. That's another tricky point there. You sort of slide the car in, don't you? And just got to hold on to it. Doesn't go too far, so much traffic, and it looks like Shepherd pulls in. Maybe looking for some fresh air there to see if he can improve in that time. He's pretty used to starting alongside James Scott, though, Norrie.
Yeah, he's used to being up the front end of this field, so he's got a good provisional lap in there now, but he'll want it to be better. He'll want to be starting for pole, absolutely.
Oh, he definitely will be. There's all these JK Science cars getting around. Luke Rosella now from Synergy Sim Racing in 55. We just had him up on screen. Adam Briggs needs to do something. He's in 24th at the moment. Just needs to push this car, get some clean air maybe, or maybe he can get under the draft to someone else. Like you said, Norrie, earlier, do you take the risk and follow the car around the track in front of you and maybe get offline? There we go in the background. I know that's Adam Briggs going off now. Just having a look up the timing screen, moving around a bit at the moment. I did think we saw Adam Briggs move up into 13th, so got himself a better time. That's a good improvement for him. Gets him in the top 15. But he'll want to be in that top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know whether we're able to get up the track map just to have a look at how tightly congested it is out on circuit at the moment. But just looking where everyone is, you can near on find any room for these guys to get through. So trying to find that perfect lap really going to be tricky, as we see Damien Johnston working his way through a little bit of traffic, gets the car up on the 2 wheels, and looking a little bit more poised through that section of the circuit there. So he should be on for a good lap. Luke Page having a good qualifying at the moment, down in 25th position. So a little bit of work for him to do, and he's got some good clear road ahead. So let's keep an eye on what he's able to do here, because it has been personal best for him through the sectors this lap. And he comes across the start-finish line. That might have actually been, it's a little bit of an improvement. Brings it up to a 123.32, so 0.2 of a second gain as he crosses the line there.
You see some Perkles come up there for Flock too in sector number 4, so he was on a bit of a charge there in Pursuit Sim Racing Ford Mustang, but remains in 16th at the moment. Just having a look there. Jamie Stovold, big improvement. Well, he was fast last week, really, wasn't he? Just an unfortunate error there. So it pushed him back in qualifying, but Stovold is in 10. So he's the bump mark for the top 10 at the moment. Jamie Stovold, Kyle Stokes just behind. Cameron Veacock in 12th, Brett Loxton in 13, who had a good showing last week. A big battle between all the Synergy Sim Racing guys behind him, held him out until the last lap where they got past him. He ended up in 10th, so good on him. Adam Briggs in 14 behind him in the simrigs.com DPR entry. And then Tom Freer, after we saw him go off into the wall and say hello to the flag marshal, is down in 15. Greg Salon is in 6th at the moment in NSR Esports entry. He's still on track, just trying to get a time down. I noticed James Scott's back out there, but Corey Shepherd, Dylan Rudd, Andrew Dyson and Brett Hobson are in the pits at the moment as we're on board now with Tom Freer again. Will we give him the camera curse? The 707. It's a little bit of a... it's a bit like a plane. There we go, wheels off. Oh, he's into the wall. What's that on the? What's that? He's just trying to show all those flag marshals that banner on the front. That's what it is. 50th race tonight in the AOSC for Tom Freer, and he's not 50th in qualifying. We do have 55 cars. He could have ended up there, but he's done all right. He's still in there, in the hunt there. So we'll see how if he can try and string a lap together. Twice we'll put the camera curse on him, and twice he's gone off. There we go, another one of the JK Signs cars. That's trying to see that was. Is that Ross in the background going off there, Dan?
Yeah, Jordan Ross going through, and just behind him after he'd had that incident as well was James Scott, about ready to start a lap, and Scott almost got collected on both of those occasions from the Synergy cars having their little mistakes on around that lap. So fortunate not to have to burn an out lap and start again, but keep an eye on that. Brett Loxton still continuing on here. It was a green personal best for him in Sector 2. See whether he's able to improve, and he's got a nice little bit of clear road ahead of him here, so should be able to put in a couple of laps. No one coming out of pit lane at the moment, and might actually go one more time around, but sitting in that P13 position on 122.86, so good time for him.
He is super consistent though, because his last lap was a 129.91, so he looks like he's getting quite a few laps together. I don't think the hardest part is going to be getting a fast lap here. You can pull one out. It's going to be doing back to back. It's going to be very hard to hold on to that steering wheel, keep that concentration, because like you say, so many bumps in the road, and you just go a little bit out and the bump gets a little bit bigger if you go a little bit off that curb, and then you spin the wheels, and if they overtake you, it is all over. There is nowhere to go. Once you hit that grass, you are sliding into a barrier somewhere, and with damage turned on and incidents points up for grabs, probably nothing you want to do. The other thing we probably will speak about in the pre-race show, guys, is when we talk about going around this track and we talk about the S's and the corkscrew, a lot of people there, if they outbrake themselves trying to do a manoeuvre, they're going to go straight through there, and that could cause all sorts of carnage if the pack is, put together at the moment. It's all packed together.
Absolutely. If you have one of those incidents on lap 1 and you're midfield or a little further back, you could take out some very quick contenders along the lap. No doubt we'll obviously see a safety car as a result, and we might see a few of those guys get back through, but that will really disrupt the flow of the race.
Wow, Loxton has done something while we haven't been watching him. Maybe we gave him the camera curse before, slowed him down, but he's in P5 now with that, a 122.63. So 122 puts him up into P5 for Loxton. Briggs now still trying to push. He's in 14th. He did improve to make that 14th, but he's done a couple of laps since then, has not improved on that time, and it was a 122.87. So looking at this, from second position all the way down to... He just got in there then, Brian Borg in the 18th position. So that goes from, they're the 122s. That covers 17 positions, guys.
It's a return to form for Hobbo, who falls into his natural 6th place on the road out there tonight.
The 88 getting around, and I do believe they'll start running. They bring the 88 back for Red Bull Racing as we get on board. Oh, Tom Freer, what are you doing? Beat Daz, bro. I was just beat Daz, man. Chicken it out, bro. Oh, the sand trap grabs him. He's not having a good night tonight. He's put a lap together. He's ninth so far, Tom Freer, but he doesn't seem to be able to string 2 laps together. Still in the 122s. Let's hope he can just keep that car on track for the race. Borgie still getting off his post, what do you have? A bit of surgery today. So post-surgery, he has come out a little bit slower than what we're used to seeing him though. But it is a difficult track, isn't it, guys? And I kind of feel like less is more on this track.
I think we just work your way through, flow the car around nicely. Don't overdrive it. That's the biggest thing that's going to really impact these guys getting around. And for Borg, they're still got plenty of traffic ahead. Keep an eye on Henry King, who is well down the order compared to where he would like to be. Currently 43rd position, so not a great run for him so far. See what he's able to put through on the lap, and not the best. Still 2/10 off, and going to have to abort this one as he runs wide through turn 1 there.
There we go, Hobson, and we've just seen him have a little bit of an off in the background there too. I did see the livery of that car go off in the background, so struggling with the track also. Everyone's just trying to push, and that's like you said, you got to try and flow the car around these corners. Too much, I think less is more sometimes, you know. Don't try and overbrake it, especially with the undulating road and the bumps. It is really easy to lock a brake up here and overshoot a corner, and I'm going to predict we're going to see some massive AJ Insurance's impact of the round. It's going to be hard to pick this week, I think. James Scott just resets himself back in there. Of course, we don't have long left, 10 seconds left in this qualifying session. So everyone will be just finishing off their lap. Hobson's got to do something though. He's dropped back to 7. Yeah, Jordan Ross has got into 5th there.
Yeah, Hobson's going to need to pull something out of the hat here. It hasn't been a great lap so far for him compared to what he set previously. The car looks still pretty good, but I think not having maybe the freshest rubber and under him at the moment, just hindering a little bit as he comes through the second to last corner. We'll have a look at what he can set, but yeah, I think going to be well off the mark at this phase.
So James Scott still holds out at number 1. We'll see what happens to Hobson. Doesn't go there, stays in 7 as we catch up with one of the JK Science cars. Who's that 269 in the background? Found the grass just coming out of that final corner. It's a nice one too. You've got to feather it around there nice and gently as Jaden Borg just completes his lap in the Penrite entry, all thanks to Coda Simsport. Rick Sibra also there. We just seen him on screen before as they're starting to finish some laps off now as Reese King comes around the Sim Rigs entry. He's currently in 27th. Let's see how it goes. A couple of green sectors there, his personal best. Well, checker flag is out for this qualifying session. It has been now for a minute, so they're coming around to complete some final laps. The green sectors here for Keane as he goes across. He's in 27th. Doesn't look like he will improve his time that time around. Let's have a look up the top. So this is how it looks. James Scott, no surprise that he is out in front with Corey Shepherd right behind. They're going to start off the front grid tonight. It's going to be a very interesting field. It's a very interesting track, Barber Motorsport Park. Plenty of areas where it can go wrong around here, and that's probably the scariest part if you're in mid-pack. Probably very important, this one, to be in the top 10, I would say, Norrie, to make sure you have that clean air and you can just get away from where it's going to really get bunched up. Turn 1's going to be interesting because then you go to that big, long right hand around the carousel. So if you're on the inside of turn 1, it might not be the best position.
I know you say the top 10 would be ideal, Matty, but I'm going to disagree. The top 5 is the best part because if you're not in the top 5, it's going to be quite a difficult to get around.
Jordan Ross will definitely have a big charge off the start. He always seems to get himself a reasonable start as we head into how they're going to stack up here after qualifying. James Scott and Corey Shepherd are going to be 1 and 2 on the front row of the grid. Then it's going to go to the second row. Dylan Rudd, Andrew Dyson. Third row will be Jordan Ross with Brett Loxton alongside in his number 6 position. Brett Hobson goes a position back from his normal spot in 7 on the 4th row alongside Greg Salon. Is that his debut tonight, Greg? We seen that before, guys? Yes, it is. Damien Johnson on the 5th row alongside Adam Briggs. Tom Freer doesn't make the top 10 tonight after we seen him get off the track. Brian Borg managed to get up into 12, so he's in the 6th row so far tonight. Kenneth Latta and Jamie Stovall will round out the 7th row. In the 8th row will be Kyle Stokes with Cameron Veacock alongside. Then it'll be Thomas Hinds and Sebastian Flock in row number 9. Blake Warboys and Matty Mass scored all the way back in the 10th row for 19 and 20. Troy Maguire in 21 with Sean Lindsell alongside. Luke Rosella and Rob Bowden will be in rows number 12. 55 cars here tonight, though. It's a huge one. 55 cars. Huge field, small track. This is going to be interesting. All right, let's look at 25 and 26. It's going to be Aaron Dodd and Luke Page, and it's going to be Reece Keane and Bailey Frid for 27, 28. 29, 30 will be Daniel Misdale and Grant Caines. Stephen Varga and Greg Sharp will be in 31, 32. Rick Sibra will be back in 33 with Darren McKenzie alongside. Jamie Dyke in 35 with David Kimmond alongside him. That'll be for row 18 of the grid at the moment. So yes, row 18. We are that far back. Then it goes Jaden Borg and Brent Nitschke. Jacob Knight in 39. Aaron Gilbert in 40. Michael Teliancic returns tonight after escaping the bushfires in Perth last week. Alongside him will be Chris Barnes. And then we'll go to Matthew Brunt, Henry King. And we'll just keep going. Yes, it's going to go quick. I'll have a look down here and we can get through them. Looks like we're about to go racing. Here we go, green flag, and we are underway. And let's find out how tonight is going to go. 150 kilometres, 3.93 kilometres to get around here at Barber Motorsports Park, Alabama, USA. Let's see how they go into turn number 1. It's going to be push and shove here as they go 2 wide. It's a big, long right-hander now. We're not going to get 3 wide, though. I thought we were going to get quite a few more as we're trying to see how they go around at the top. James Scott leads us out here. Corey Shepherd and him tussling for position there at the start. It looks like he has held them out now as we go 3 wide. Oh, no, a spin out. Is that Freer involved in that one too? I don't know. Could be. He's going to be upset if he's spun around already, and we already see some other guys, the 84 too, and that's Flock turned around early in this one. We did suspect there were going to be some issues as they went around this corner number 5.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a really good start for everyone involved off the line there. We saw a little bit of battling as the guys were crossing the start-finish straight in the mid-pack, and it was all the way down to turn 5 before we saw that big incident. Sebastian Flock, the biggest loser out of that one, getting rotated around, drops 34 positions from where he started, and will now drop right to the second or third last in the field, down in 52nd position. So that's a huge amount of work for him to do to claw his way back up through the field.
Rob Bowden's a big improver too. 7 positions, up to 17. So he's made a big charge off the start. Aaron Dodd's followed him. He's 6 positions up in 19. Here we go. What's going on here? Some overtaking manoeuvres going on. Everyone's showing the nose. We complete the first lap. So we've just completed 1 lap. That's how quick it is. 1 minute 22 is all it takes to get around here. A little bit wide there, as you can see up on screen. Ross now putting the pressure on Dylan Rudd, who's just in front. Andrew Dyson just got over for Rudd there to get himself into 3rd. So Ross is going to be putting a lot of pressure on here. He's started out of 5th and he's back in that position. He did drop down 1 for a second. They start to make their way around. Rudd is just in front. Should play him. Andrew Dyson in 3rd. As we check out the replay now, thanks to Jinx Shifters. Dan, run us through this one.
I was just going to pick up where this all unfolded. I think there's just a little bit of contact mid-corner there. There's a Coda car involved in that as well. I think that might have been Thomas Foster well down as well. So plenty of guys just missing the markers there, running in the back. And that concertina effect was a big one there for all those guys getting involved in it.
Yeah, this one looks like Tom Freer. That's his back wing there, spun around and just seeing if he lets all the traffic go, if he's stuck there. As you can see, lots of stuff moving around my time screen. He just gets off the road there, manages to grab reverse, so he will rejoin the race, which is good to see Freer back out. But he'll be down the field quite a bit. We'll check out where he is very shortly as we get back on with Ross, who is on the back of Dylan Rudd, chasing Andrew Dyson for that number 3 position. Now it's Greg Salon in the NSR Esports. The 808 entry in position number 8 holds onto that position from the start. We just completed 2 laps now of this 150-kilometre race. We're about 39 here tonight. Be interesting to see if we get a safety car with the amount of corners, the difficulty of this track. I'd say the difficulty rate is quite high. I expect to see a safety car at some point, I would assume. And we'll see if any of that's going to bring some sort of pit stop strategy into it, Norrie.
I haven't seen a safety car already.
Yeah, it's been a bit like that, hasn't it? We've had a bit of a ping pong match going on so far as Darren McKenzie at the moment up 10 positions into 24th. The Inside Lane Productions car from Team Hyperdrive. He's having a nice drive in the Mustang. I think pit lane is going to be absolutely chock-a-block with 55 cars as well. So if we have a safety car early and everyone decides, hey, I can make it home from here, then, you know, you're going to see everyone pull in. It's going to be the exit there that's going to be my concern. Everyone's coming out at the same time.
Yeah, and trying to find that little bit of room to get the cars out of the lane and hopefully not have some 2x2 contact as we see Grant Caines in the middle of the Penrite sandwich here. He's got Greg Sharp in front, Jaden Borg right behind. Just trying to find you a little bit of room. I think if we continue as long as we're expecting to do at this early phase, these guys in the mid-pack could play a really ultimate strategy here. Come in early, try and find that little bit of space while everyone is so tightly compressed, and maybe pick up those spots as we potentially expect to come into what could be a safety car later on.
Grant Caines already doing some weight reduction strategy in this race. He's taking the boot and the rear wing off, or someone's taking it off for him. So he's already got some damage on the car, so that'll take a little bit of extra time too on his pit stop, and that'll be a quick repair, but it will delay him in the pits just that little bit. Everything will count at the moment. So Tom Frios, who we're on board with at the moment from Synergy Sim Racing, and be a lot of movement there going up and down at the moment. He's currently sitting in 49th out of 55, but expect to see him go through the field reasonably quickly because we know he's sort of up in the top 10 usually. He did get spun around a little bit early. I'm not quite sure how that happened, whether it was on his own accord or whether something happened, but yeah, unfortunately did spin out and then had to wait for all the traffic to go by because it was very early on in the race and everyone was bunched up behind him. The worst thing he could have done was try and back out. We got an incident. Is that Caines in the background or someone? It looked like a Mach 1 car. Just going back. Oh, now he's had more weight reduction. He's taking the bonnet and the front nose cone off.
And very fortunate that everyone behind there was able to avoid that car and not get into it. We'll have a look at the replay to see how this one happens. It's down through the chicane in the second phase and just runs it out wide. Actually, I wonder if there's contact from a stationary car in front. Who was that? It might be Jamie Stovall involved in that, I think. And just running out of room, and we'll have a safety car deployed as a result.
Well, Norrie, you predicted it. Surprised we haven't seen a safety car already. But we're looking at the jig shifters. Mercedes GT3, and look at it's coming out already.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually surprised it took till that 5 to happen, but here it is. Better late than never. And
yeah, well, we kept you out of this car this week because we were too scared you were going to damage it. It's worth too much money, way more than a supercar.
that's why I decided to have the go at the Henry James Racer car, because it was much easier, and it's Commodore. They're easy to write off.
Yeah, they're easy to replace, you reckon. So James Scott had a lead in this one, not too far over Corey Shepherd. Andrew Dyson in third, made up one spot since the start. Dylan Rudd is, that's who he swapped with, Dylan Rudd down one spot. Jordan Ross in fifth position, and then that's how they sort of line up so far. Then it goes Hobson in sixth, Loxton in seven, so he's doing really good tonight. Salon in eight, and Brigg in nine, but it's a long race. We're only a lap 6 at 39, and we already have a safety car out, as we do have Caines on the racing the line, who will have to get off there, and that thing's, I don't know if that's going to be repairable in time, or whether that's not done for him. But the Mach 1 guys, team owner's not going to be happy about that, I can tell you. Wow, now they're all coming in the pits, Norrie, every single one of them. They're lining up. They've all decided early pit, maybe get some clean air. I don't think there's going to be any clean air. It doesn't matter where you pit, there's going to be 20 cars around you.
That's the thing. These guys who are pitting are taking a strategy, but it's the strategy which is putting them with 20 other cars. So they're all bunching themselves up and all having a go. But this is difficult because the guys at the front, they aren't pitting, and the guys mid-pack are. So it's definitely going to be on for young and old at the end of this race.
Just having a look up on the timing screen, it looks like the first person to pit is Jamie Dyke. So Dyke, Jaden Borg, Tony Gaffer, they're all in there. There's quite a few Henry Kings in there, Sibra, Michael Taliancic, has he gone in as well? Looks like he made it. That's, Taliancic, a bit of a shame to see him so far down, actually, because we know he's been quite impressive throughout the season so far in the first 4 rounds. Probably expected him, maybe didn't get a lot of practice time this week, like we say, missed out in last week's round, purely due to he got evacuated from some fires over in WA. So he might be on a borrowed setup. You don't know. He might be at home. Just maybe didn't have any time to practice this week, which is a bit unfortunate. But James Scott is currently leading this race number 180, coming to you from Barber Motorsport Park, Alabama, USA. It is round number 5 of season 10 of AOSC, all thanks to Jinx Shifters. And we're on the back of the safety car now. And James Scott, he likes to hold on to the last minute down to do these restarts. And accelerating down into turn number 2 is a little bit dangerous, I think. I think it's probably good to get a good run down the straight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he'll probably look at making his run probably through the second to last corner, set up for a nice exit and press on. The biggest trick will be trying to get the jump on Corey Shepherd and maybe just put him off a little bit. So no doubt there'll definitely be a lot of strategy being played when we do see the safety car start to walk away. But for the guys that came into pit, a lot of those cars early on did have some big damage, a lot of it through that turn 4 incident or turn 5 incident, lap 1, and then just prior to the safety car being deployed, there was quite a few cars involved in that as well. So those guys, I think, are going to really struggle to get these cars home unless we do see another safety car, but expect to see them back in later on for a small dash.
Yeah, no, they probably don't have enough to make it home from here. I mean, we are very early on, but lap number 5, we had safety car already. Already a number of incidents, a lot of damage, a lot of people in for repair. Likely we're going to see another one of these safety cars.
Oh, it'd be a safe bet to put your house on the bet for that one. But yeah, the safety car probability is pretty damn high, and I'm fairly certain we'll see another one, and that will get these guys who have stopped early home. But the guys who have not stopped and they're going to play the long game, they're going to wait for that actual safety car.
Anyway, all thanks to Track Cancel Gourmet. It just shows the elevation change, doesn't it? That static camera there as they come up the hill through those S's. It's a huge elevation change throughout this track, up and down, as you see them come down here. And our camera director doing a fantastic job in the background, Nick Hausler, just making sure we can see all these shots as we speak about it. But you can just see how much off camber there is there as they come down on the brakes in those corners in full race mode. You know, like, that is very hard to pull the car up without locking a tyre up and causing all sorts of issues. It looks like the safety car's in. Restart is about to get underway, and James Scott, he likes to restart late. What's he going to do on this one as he comes out of the final corner? Turn number 16, heads down to turn number 1, and he is foot to the firewall now, trying to open up that gap on Corey Shepherd as they get the restart. Shepherd has been a couple of tenths a second off him in qualifying, so he's got a tiny little bit more pace. But it is race time now. It's different there. He's under fire, though, Corey Shepherd, from Andrew Dyson, who's in 3rd position. He's taking advantage of this restart. Then behind him, you see Dylan Rudd, Jordan Ross, Brenton Hobson, Brett Loxton, Greg Sallin, and Adam Briggs, with Kenneth Latta rounding out the top 10.
A really good restart from everyone, single file the whole way through. We see a little move in the background. I don't think that pass actually got completed there, but really good jump from all. Shepherd managed to pick up the lead from Scott very well, and hasn't fallen too far behind. Andrew Dyson doing really good, gained that one spot up in 3rd position, as you're saying, and he is on a charge here to try and continue his way forward.
Yeah, so Kenneth Latta, like you say, 3 positions up into 10th at the moment. Stovald's another one that's a couple of positions up. He's back in 12th with Damien Johnson just between those two. Brian Borg has actually dropped a position back to 13, so he's struggling a little bit tonight. A lot of movement to do, especially if you've been under a bit of duress today. So good to see, though, he could still make the race here for Barber Motorsport Park. And you can see on the back of James Scott's Logitech G Altus Esports Commodore there with Corey Shepherd chasing him down. As we look at the previous lap times, 6 and 7 won't matter because they were safety car. Even lap 5, the safety car coming out. We'll go back to lap number 4, and you can see Shepherd was half a second slower than James Scott. So definitely pacey again for James Scott. Hopefully we can see Corey Shepherd put a bit more pressure on him later on in this race, because it has been a James Scott saga the whole way. He's been, there we go, it's coming together. This is way back down. Looks like position number 28 is the Blake Warboys. Just having a look who that was in front of him.
Darren McKenzie.
Yes, Darren McKenzie. 02, we had him up on screen before, and he'd made a heap of positions too, McKenzie.
Yeah, he was looking really good there. That awkward run through 2, though, as you were saying earlier on.
So he was actually up, what did we speak to him before? He's up like 14 positions. Now he's way back behind where he started. So it's unfortunate for McKenzie. And we'll let race control deal with that one. Jamie Dyke from the Fishing Motorsports entry, you can see up there now, the number 80, who is in position number 31, just trying to get a move done on Henry. Thomas Kircher, can he get it done? Looks like the Mac 1 car will have to give way there. Tries to come back on the inside, do the crisscross. But Jamie Dyke will hold him out this time. So Thomas Kircher will have to go back into 31 now. Brenton Hobson moving back down too. I think that might be my timing screen though. Because we are plenty going on up the front. Or maybe we're seeing in the pits actually. That's what they are. They're starting to take pits and that's why I'm seeing them move around. So we are seeing some of the guys in the top 10 going to the pits.
Well, yeah, I was just going to point out too, it looks like Brian Borg's come down the lane as well early on, so it's a little surprised he didn't make that pit stop under the safety car. You can just catch him pulling into the box now, so that's going to drop him well down the order, but he should get a nice little bit of clear track as the snake winds its way around the circuit here when he rejoins, so keep an eye on that. But further back down the order here, Bailey Frid in a little bit of a battle here. He's got Reece Keane starting to close in. And just ahead, a little bit of two wide action. Aaron Dodd and Sean Linsell getting in and amongst it. Just a couple of cars up.
Just a side note though, boys, Cameron Beacock circulated through the lane, but that was for a drive-through, not for an actual service, so he still needs a pit stop to go.
It's interesting, Norrie, because I was actually going to ask you, what is the minimum lap that you've got in your calculations without a safety car? Would it have been around lap 10 or 11?
I didn't calculate without a safety car.
So the guys like Brian Borg, so if he's come in under strategy now and takes a full load of fuel, can he go to the end?
Yes.
And it's a bit of a risk, but you would expect another safety car, like we say.
Yeah,
if you had to put your bet on, a safety car would come out.
It does require a fuel save. I was sort of betting about 15, 16 for most pitting to make it home. But if you pit around now and do get that safety car and you can fuel save, you might just make it.
Well, maybe that's what he's looking at doing. That could be exactly what they're looking to do with some of these guys coming in early. Brian Borg especially, he'll know exactly what to do. How many races he done? The second most in AOSC history or something like that. He's been around forever.
Yeah, let's that, mate.
He's part of furniture. When you say AOSC, there's a picture of Brian Borg, I think. He's just part of it. All right, we get on board now with Matty Hansen in the Taipan Esports entry, the Holden Commodore. And he has just gone past Tony Gaffer, who was in position 36, so he goes into 35. Jamie Dyke in position number 25 now, the Fishing Motorsports up 8 positions. Now he's dropping, I'm getting a bit of movement on my timing screen, but it says he's up 6 positions in 29 at the moment, but Dyke's actually in 31. So, Jamie Dyke in position number 31, getting around, and he is chasing down David Kimmond in the 717 in front with a lot of damage. But right in front of him is Simon Hedeschi. They're in a little bit of a battle now for position number 30, and Kimmond just in front, but showing so many battle wounds on the front with the bonnet missing on that car. He has to come in for a full repair.
We'll probably see that car take the full service and get the damage repaired on that next stop. But this is a good little scrap for these guys, well down the order, and still mixing it up. Matty Mascord, who we saw have a couple of errors in the qualifying early on, back into a good spot in 15th, up 5 from where he started. He's got Rob Bowden behind, back off probably not the best round that he had last week at Phillip Island. But coming back through in 16th position, Sean Linsell involved in this as well. You see Bowden with a small little lock up into 5. There's 6 cars here where we could see any of these guys work their way through as they head up towards the little corkscrew section.
Thomas Hens also showing some damage on the front of the Jinx Shifters car, and Matty Mascord is going to start to put a bit of pressure on him if he doesn't watch out very soon. We're going to move a charge. Bowden, though, impressive behind, up 8 positions at the moment. Needs to hold on to that one, not do anything silly. Try and follow Matty Mascord through, maybe let him part the ways. He slides a car out there for Mascord, and that's what you do in a lot of this track. Just let the car slide out. Don't try and steer it too much. Just try and be careful through there. A lot of curb usage as well. Hinzo showing that bonnet missing in that Jinx Shifters car at the front of this pack. Then we go back to Sean Linsell in the EXG Motorsports. We head down to the replay. Mac 1 car, let's hope it's not involved in this one. Is that net code at my end?
Yeah, a little bit of a nerf there from Kircher down into the turn 7 there, and just getting up the inside. A little bit of an awkward, tricky spot to be, and around goes that car. So see potentially race control have a look at that one after the fact, and we're probably going to expect a drive-through penalty based on what we've seen so far. As a result, back up the front, Bowden starting to work on the back of Matty Mascord, who in turn has Thomas Hinds right in front of him. And these 5 cars not separated by very much on the circuit at the moment as we work their way up towards that same spot where we just saw that last incident, 6 and 7.
Notice the gap at the start too between Scott and Shepherd has now gone out to about 2.5 seconds, and Dyson goes back further 2 seconds on top of that. So they are starting to spread out a little bit at the front as they're coming around turn number 14 now for James Scott. So 1, 2 have opened up a nice little lead, then Dyson was battling out with Rudd, Ross and Hobson for position number 3, 4 and 5. With 6, Hobson in 6th as we go on screen now with Borgie. He's making his way back through the pack. He's done the early pit stop there. He's right back into 42 at the moment. He was a little bit further back, but he's made himself a couple of positions. He puts another move, the Mach 1 car, he'll get past Schrotter. Gets that done nice and early. Schrotter pulls out of the way, does a gentlemanly thing, knowing there's a much faster car coming through. 017. Was there any tyre on the track at all then? Was that an airborne moment?
He's using all the track and then some to get back up through the field, and it's a bit of a risky strategy trying to work your way through, obviously, with how congested it's been out there, but he's making use of it while he's got those fresh tyres underneath him and pressing on well. This scrap for 14th has not moved at all. You can see the guys down into 5, and they are struggling to get that any little bit of track advantage they can. As have a look at the track map, and you can just see how tightly contested it is around the 2/3 of the lap. And out front, our 2 leaders, James Scott, Corey Shepherd, starting to really extend that advantage now over Andrew Dyson and Dylan Rudd as well.
Now it looks like Dyson and Rudd have got their own little battle going on there for 3 and 4. Then 5, 6 and 7 are another battle pack with Ross leading that, Hobson and Briggs right behind. So we're starting to get these little battles going on, and further down the field you can see it is all happening. And we still have money on there'll be another safety car because we've seen so much damage as this slides it out nicely. Matty Mascord in the 585 Ford Mustang. And now he's under attack. Bowden. Mascord got past him. Bowden hasn't managed to get past him yet. But it's given Thomas Hinds a little bit of a reprieve now because a little bit of a gap now opened up between him and Matty Mascord. So Mascord's going to have to watch out. I think Bowden is doing the right thing though. Just hold on to the back and wait for that little mistake, a little bit of a wiggle from Mascord, and give you the opportunity to put your nose in there and take that position back. As you can see, Bowden has been faster the last couple of laps there. It's only lap 14 where maybe a slight mistake there from Bowden. Very easy to do on this track. A little bit of wheel spin somewhere, gets the car a little bit sideways. That could be all the difference it is.
Interesting. It looks like Bowden's car's a little bit stronger through that last half of the lap as well. Through the quick chicanes after we get up through 6, 7, and 8, he's comes on quite strong here. So we should see him start to close this gap down. The ride control looks very good up and over the curbs as the car dances through there. And this will be a good telltale sign as we see Mascot actually just extend the gap marginally through the first chicane. Both these guys use a huge amount of curb. They flick the cars up over there, and that gap's staying pretty stationary at the moment.
Yep. Check out a replay here, thanks to Jinx Shifters, and this is position number 5, Brent Hobson, getting the move done on Jordan Ross. Let's see how this happened here. Under brakes as they come down. Dives deep under brakes to go into this one. That is a risky to go through there with that amount of speed, but he gets it done nicely. Jordan Ross makes sure he has enough room there.
And I was just about to say Jordan Ross is having a great running tonight and put the commentators curse on him, but it seems Brenton Hobson doesn't like being in 6th all the time, so he's trying 5th tonight.
Well, you're right. Jordan Ross needs to be careful because Briggs is right behind him, the Simrigs DPR entry. So if he doesn't watch out, he's going to make a move. The nose goes in here. Oh, so close to that rear splitter. Nearly rubbing a bit of livery off that car, and we know Jordan Ross has probably been one of the most unluckiest drivers so far in the series, as it looks like Brian Borg's still making his way through the pack as well. He's on a big charge.
And that little incident there down through 5 is going to be one of those ones that we're going to see all up and down throughout the field as these guys just fight over those little tenths of a second on the circuit. They used the curb through those corners there, and for Briggs it looked really good. Further down, You've got Tony Gaffer, Simon Heddersheed, Henry King's involved in this as well, as well as Rick Vigers. These guys scrapping down for 42nd position at the moment, so might not be right at the front end of the field, but there's racing well and truly up and down through it.
They're having a fantastic race, and so the big news is we don't have a split two tonight. We have thrown all 55 cars into just one race. Massive race, and that's why we see so many battles going on back and forth. Keeping Nick Hausler busy tonight. He's got to keep his eye on every single battle that's going on and try and cover all of them. And there is lots going on, because now I see heaps of moving up the front as well. There's plenty going on between Dyson and Rudd as well. Hobson's still holding out, but Briggs has got past Ross, so Ross has dropped back another position. It's almost like maybe his tyres have gone off, or he is trying to fuel conserve or something, because he's dropped back 2 positions now, which I wouldn't have expected to see him give up so easily.
Traditionally, you wouldn't give them up, but I think, yeah, as you say, the tyres starting to go a little bit at this point. We're already 17 laps into it. We're going to have a quick look at the replay to see how this one unfolded through as they work down through the chicane. Briggs gets a really good run on the exit there. It looks like a pretty simple move for him to get that one through.
Yeah, and that's very important as we come into these guys who have not pit stopped yet, because they're all going to come at a similar time than would be my prediction. And like Norrie said, probably around about now is where you would expect to see them come in. Some might be able to hold out because of that early safety car we had on lap number 5, which is interesting now. We've done 8 or 9 laps without a safety car. Is that? Oh, look at the Constantina there. Is that Freya just giving someone a nudge? That's Freya going, get out of my way. And unfortunately, look at the damage already on that. Oh, no, contact again. Oh, no, Freya in another incident again, as he with Barnes comes together there. So Freya pushing very, very hard tonight, but not paying off for him at all.
That's a really tough spot for him to be in, and those cars will get back underway, just losing a couple of positions, but it does put them right back in contention with a few cars a little further down there, so we could see a couple more positional changes as they sort themselves back out. Keep an eye on that. Further up, this fight still continuing on for 14th position. They just started to separate out just a fraction here, and for Bowden, probably a good thing. He's got a little bit of breathing room just ahead and behind us. We keep a look at Sean Linsell for EXG Motorsports, just working his way through, and that car looking pretty poised as they set up for the run down towards the first back chicane.
Yeah, like you say, we go to the rookie of this round, Salon, in his Ford Mustang, and he's doing a fantastic job. He might be a rookie here in AOSC, but something tells me this is not his first time around Barber Motorsports Park on a sim at all, especially when you've got NSR Esports. That looks like someone going in the pits in the background. We will see everyone start to enter the pits.
Damien Johnson, Aaron Dodd also pitting this lap.
There you go, pit lane reporter Norrie. Not only can he do a lap around Barber Motorsport Park and tell us exactly what to expect, he's definitely got the pit strategy covered. And as someone wide, they're coming out of pits, that's what we say, coming out of the pit lane, you come on the round turn number 2 really. So a tricky way to re-enter, everyone just staying to that left-hand side, giving plenty of room as we get on board with Ross. He was up in position number 5. He was in 5, gave that up to Hobson and Briggs, who got past, and now in position number 7. And I'm just having a look. We've already had a couple of people retired, Norrie.
I'm getting led through that Freya has retired from the race.
Interesting. Hasn't had a good night. And we do have a car in the wall down there as well. I'm trying to find out who that is. That is a head clash there. I don't even know how we're going to do the AJ Insurance impact of the round. There's just so many. Can we just do a compilation of all of them, and we'll just do some clown music or something?
Well, yeah, I think
Any
it'll be the
music.
Hip Barber.
Oh, gee, look who we got up on screen now. And as if we don't say his name enough, James Scott's back. Logitech Giauda's esports car, just cruising around in front at the moment. Got himself nearly a 4-second lead over Corey Shepherd. Oh, someone sideways in the background there. That's a lap car, actually. Just behind him. I'm actually trying to figure out who that is. That is 48th position, which will be, Daniel Misdale. Just in the background, sliding the car around.
That was the thing that I was about to allude to, was James Scott was coming up on lap traffic, and now he's past that lap traffic and still not pitting, so he's running the long one tonight.
Yeah, interesting whether that's a strategy he wants to go for, maybe banking on the fact of being another safety car. I mean, Brian Ball took that early pit earlier, and we think if he does get a safety car and a little bit of fuel saving, he can make it home. So James Scott's going to be very wary of that.
It seems to be paying out pretty well for Borg here. Just looking at where he is on circuit at the moment. So down into turn 3 at the moment, as we see them work their way down through the carousel in 25th. James Scott starting to close up on the back of some traffic. He's in the second to last corner at the moment. So the gap continuing on at around 41 seconds between himself and Borg right now.
Corey Shepherd pitting, and Brenton Hobson going with him.
It's a tricky pit entry, isn't it? There, do you reckon he grabbed some handbrake? It almost looked like a handbrake entry, like I was at the drifting again. Sideways into the pit set for Corey Shepherd. So he is in. James Scott is not. Choosing to stay out there and try and get as big a lead as possible. As we get on board with Jacob Knight now in the XG Motorsports cars. We look out the back. You can see behind him Thomas Hinds trying everything he does. Position number 20 at the moment. Sorry, 21 and 22. Hinds there in the jig shifters car, the number 52. Just following around the track, waiting for that opportunity. Oh, as he goes off the camera curse. Oh no, goes in the pits, but it was a hairy moment because that was way on the grass. Way on the grass. We could hear that under the back tyres. So Hinds will go through now and take that position up. Now we go to Ross and Loxton. So Jordan Ross is up in position number 4. So that means a couple of people in front of him have gone into the pits. That's what that is. So people are starting to pit. Jordan Ross has not gone in the pits yet. James Scott has not gone in the pits yet. Dyson and Rudd have not gone in the pits yet. Corey Shepherd is in and out.
Scratch that. Scratch that, Matty. James Scott is now pitting.
Of course. Corey Shepherd just used a little bit of, he gets right over that curve in the missed antenna Mustang. And he'll be trying to come around as fast as he can because James Scott is in the pit, and this is where the race is for 1 and 2.
Jordan Ross is going to take your race lead.
Sorry?
Jordan Ross is going to take your race lead. He's not pitting.
Jordan Ross doing another lap. He's really going to push it. Maybe he's hoping for a safety car. A lot of people going to be coming out of pit exit. There we go. The 143 car in the lead now with Brett Loxton behind. This is 1 and 2. Not your effective leaders. We can see James Scott in the pits, and Corey Shepherd is coming around, but James Scott is out. I think James Scott will get out of there in front, will he? Yes, he does. So Corey Shepherd will remain in that second position. James Scott is your effective race leader at the moment. Jordan Ross and Brett Loxton on the timing boards are up in front of them, but they have not pitted yet. Jordan Ross and Corey Shepherd have done their pits, and now that I've said that, I'm sure they will pull in Norrie.
Affirmative, they probably will.
Here they come. They are now coming up the back through the S's, turn 10 and 11. Be interesting because that pit entry is as you come around turn 14 and the start, the apex of 15 is where you exit off into the pits. Very tricky corner to get around. So leading the race at the moment, but has not pit stopped. Jordan Ross, Brett Loxton behind.
Loxton pitting, Jordan going again. And Loxton crashed on the way in.
Wow, Loxton comes unstuck. Looks like he's got around though into pit lane somehow.
That was sideways on the entry.
Wow, everyone has been so far, haven't they? It is the tricky entry. We spoke about it in the pre-race show. So Jordan Ross now with a bit of clean air at the moment, but James Scott is going to be chasing him down next as Loxton's in the pit. So we know James Scott will have gone past. Shepherd has just gone past and taken back third position. So Ross now your race leader with 23 laps into this 39 lap race here at Barber Motorsports Park, Alabama, USA. Race number 180 in AOSC history. We go on board at the moment. Whoa, look at the oversteer there for Ross. Tries to come out of that corner. That was turn number 9. is interesting. Here you go, down the hill and then back up through the tunnel. Now, will he take the pits? We come around 14. This is interesting. It's going to be good to watch on board. There we go. Whoa.
Hitting.
Hard on the brakes. Will he pull it in?
Does.
Probably the smoothest one we've seen so far, Norrie.
I mean, one off, yes. Oh, got a bit of a wheel spin there. I'll critique him on that.
We'll critique him. Unfortunately, he's lost a couple of teammates here tonight. It looks like Tom Freer has already pulled the pin. I don't know if he had too much damage or just got involved in a lot of race incidents. A long way down the field where he doesn't want to be. As Thomas Hinds up on screen at the moment here. Just trying to see if he's actually done a pit yet. Norrie, has Hinds been in? I don't think he has.
Let me. Yep.
Yes, he has been.
Yep. Yep.
Right, so he's back out where he should be. So that's good for him to be up in 12 at the moment. Damien Johnson just in front and Kyle Stokes behind. Here we go. The rejoin from Ross. He comes into traffic. Goes back into P8 at the moment behind Kenneth Latta. So that's great for Kenneth Latta. He is up 6 positions at the moment in position number 7. As you see him here just in front of Jordan Ross. Jordan Russell's out on cold tyres. Wouldn't think he'd get a big advantage here. I know they're green tyres, but they might be green tyres. I would suspect they are, but they are cold at the moment. So Kenneth Latter's already been out and done a couple of laps. Brent Hobson in front of him. Adam Briggs, Dylan Rudd is 5 and 4. And then we go to our top 3. Of course, it is Dyson in 3rd, Shepherd in 2nd, and Scott leading the way once again in car number 1.
Jordan Ross will have a better tyre once they're up to temp though, Manny, and that will take but a moment.
Yeah, so Kenneth Latta will have to watch out for that one. And we know Jordan Ross will push through. He is very fast when he has some fresh tyres. And he will not have to fuel conserve at all to finish his last 14 laps of this race. We are lap 25 at 39 at the moment. Scott pitted exactly where you expected to pit. Shepherd too as well as Dyson Rudd and Adam Briggs. So those top 5 all pitted. Well and truly can make it all the way home. Don't need another safety car. We did have an early safety car on lap number 5 of this race, but we have not seen one since. So Norrie, we could be losing a bet.
Yes, I think we might. I was expecting to see a lot more. Given the tight and twisty nature of the circuit, I was expecting to see a lot more safety cars. We have seen quite a few cars injured though, and a few more retirements, so I'm expecting that covers off the lack of safety car.
We started with 55 cars in this race. That is a massive field. 3.93 kilometres. Here we go, a little bit of a move here. Page just getting it done on Brunt. Brunt will go out a bit of room, and then looks like someone else. Maguire going to take advantage of this one as well. Just trying to see if he's going to get through. Troy Maguire, no. Oh, under brakes, get sketchy. That's a big wiggle on the brakes, but he's got the pace, and Maguire's going to get the move done now, I think. Yes, he will, and Brunt will go back a position to 25. In the background, a bit of curb there, and Rosella right behind. So Luke Rosella going to put the nose in as we go to a Jinx Shifters replay. All right, this is Thomas Hinds at the moment that we're just trying to see. He is on the outside. Comes in, manages to stick the move here, but it's the 33 of Damien Johnston, and Hinds will hold on to this one to go to P11. Yep, gets a good run down here through the S's, and that's a nice move there. Took a few corners to make that happen, but it's good racing from both drivers. Roy Maguire now on the back of Luke Page. The private's here. I'll go up on my screen, but you can see there the Sim Cube riding all over that car as he gets around. A little bit of a gap to Bailey Frid and Stephen Varga just in front though. All right, Jordan Ross, he rejoined the race. He's in 8th position. He hasn't managed to get past Kenneth Latta actually. Kenneth Latta has held him out. Interesting to see how much defensive driving he's had to do to make that happen. I'm just trying to have a look at the last couple of laps there. So move around a bit. Is this a move? No, it's a position. That's a car 80 up on screen at the moment. Is Jamie Dyke is they are back. He just moves into position 36 over Rick Sibra, who did have that position. Now he's back in 37. Veacock just in the background of that one as well. As we head on back with Ross. And while he's not making his way past Ladder, Brett Loxton now putting his little nose in the side mirrors there for Jordan Ross, letting him know he's there. Oh, loose out of that one though. Loxton's going to really have to control that throttle. He doesn't want to spin those wheels too much.
Almost a little bit of a bobble there for Jordan Ross on the mid-corner entry. Just losing the nose just a fraction, and that probably helps Ladder just a touch as he's able to get away, but it does open the door here for Loxton down towards the inside. We're right on board through this little section to get a look at how much movement is on these cars, and not much between either of them. You see the times down the bottom. Take the skip lap 24, because that obviously was when the pit stops were all being done and dusted, but last time by 1.3, a tenth and a bit up for Loxton, so the pace looking still pretty handy in that car as they work through.
Loxton needs to keep his cool here. As you can see that Ross now has just got right up on the back of Kenneth Ladder. So he did go wide that last lap. Here we go, puts a nose. That's Newens in the background, the Territories Iced Coffee entry. Nose first into the wall, so Shane Newens will be a bit unfortunate for him. Now Ross, but Ladder gets a nice drive, doesn't he, coming off that final turn, number 16, and down the main straight. And it's through this section he opens up. Ross goes wide again. Loxton now. What can he do as they come into lap traffic as well?
Good awareness from that lap traffic just to sit high and wide there and allow this fight to continue on, because that could have got a little bit tricky for them. As Jamie Stovall now with a good charge, he's going to come up onto the back of this train as well. So we're going to have a really strong four-car fight for this position, and Stovall is right there now on the back of Loxton.
Maddie, I just won that bet, safety car.
Jinx Shane Newens pulled that one out. I'm gonna message him later. So what are you doing, mate? Call him the safety car. He heard that we had a bet on. He's saving our skin. That's what he's doing, Norrie. As we bring it up on screen, you see the Territory Iced Coffee car coming around. Just goes wide under brakes on the grass, and once you get a back wheel on the grass there, and that's turn number 15, nose first for the Commodore into the wall and stuck there waiting for race control. So unfortunate for Shane Newens.
Big fortunate one there was Brett Loxton, who was just in behind, lucky not to get collected as Newens went around also.
And there we go, the Jinx Shifter safety car will be deployed, and Norrie and I are not out of pocket tonight. You're not going to lose your house, Norrie.
Thank God for that.
Interesting. Now, we had some guys pit really, really early under the first safety car. Will they come and take a dash of fuel now to make it home? Be very interesting to see what happens there. James Scott still leading this race, can make it all the way home. Corey Shepard in second, although we see him back there. A couple of cars between them. Let's see if they're going to get a wave around. That could make things a little bit interesting. Corey Shepard gets that chance to close up. Where is Brian Borg now? Actually, as we bring it up on screen, me and Nick think alike. P16. So he has made it all the way back up to P16, and the safety car that he needed has come. He was the one banking on this. He needs to fuel conserve to make it home. His tyres will be worn, but he took fuel early. We think he can make it home with fuel saving, and that's what he's going to have to do during this safety car. And if they can do some of these wave arounds, he might get rid of some cars in between too, which will help him. So Brett Loxton there, he was having a nice battle with Jordan Ross. And someone joining that little battle was Jamie Stovall in the background. So this is another chance now for everyone just to settle down, calm the nerves, have a little bit of a break off the steering wheel. Make sure you're going to get home on that fuel you have taken if you came a little bit early. These couple of laps here under safety car will ensure that for some of these drivers. Having a look at some of the cars getting waved around now, as we did expect from race control. Once everything settles down, they will identify the cars that are lapped and let them get around. So everyone will start to head back onto the same lap as we are heading back around the back section of the track through the tunnel. Section turn number 13. Down the back. Very tricky track indeed here at Barber Motorsport Park. James Scott still leading this one with Corey Shepard, the 1 and 2 in the championship at the moment. And they will lead us us out on this one.
Let's not forget Andrew Dyson. He's back in third, but fifth in the championship, and so there's a few others in there for that battle pack.
Yeah, there is. One of the big things we will probably talk about post-race is Tom Freer has quit. He is out. I don't know if that's damage or rage quit, but Freer is not going to finish this race in the Synergy Sim racing car. So he was third in the championship with Brian Borg just behind him by 60 points. And Borg is still out there, and maybe this risky pit manoeuvre for him might pay off to get him back in the top 10 tonight after a qualifying session he probably would expect it to be a little bit higher at.
I think so. The big thing, though, and you kind of touched on it just as the safety car came out there, Matt, is with Borg having taken that early pit stop, he pitted lap 9. Everyone else came in around between lap 19 and 22 ahead of him. So those tyres are really going to hurt, and that's probably going to see him drop a little further down as the field cycles its way through. The one who will be wishing that safety car didn't come out was James Scott, because he had a very commanding lead over the field, and with just under 10 laps to go, he was in the prime position. But Corey Shepherd comes back now, has a good opportunity if he can get the jump similar to what we saw last time, with tyres that are only 1 lap older, mind you. He potentially could be on here for a victory.
Well, definitely something to watch, and we say we've got 9 laps left in this race. That's if safety car comes in on this lap. It could be an 8-lap sprint to the end. But what is interesting about that is it is a short track. It's only a minute 20 to get around, a minute 22 in race pace. James Scott, his fastest in race has been 1:22.3. We have seen him go 1:21.85 in the qualifying session. So it's not a big track. Lots of things that can bring you unstuck as well.
We can get a track map up maybe and look at the real estate that isn't available.
Oh, there's not much available. They are all coming on to the lead lap now, and they're all coming around and bunching up on the back of this one.
Look at that snake as it's going around. There's a bit of free real estate around it, 16.7 or 16.1, 2 and 3, and that's about it.
You've always got to take the positive, don't you, Dan and Norrie, out of a situation like this. Like James Scott loses his lead over Corey Shepherd, although he has been faster than him, but he was contending with lap traffic, and luckily enough, nothing's happened to him. He's managed to get through that lap traffic. Now, though, he won't have to deal with that. Now it's free air.
Well, yeah, and he's positioned the car well here. As we see, the safety car is going to head off, so James Scott now has control of the field. He needs to do exactly what he did last time by. Shepherd already starting to sneak up and latch onto the back here.
He is the king of restarts, isn't he, James Scott, out of our field at AOSC? He knows exactly when and where he wants to take off. He must study his opponents very closely to find out where he definitely has the advantages there. And it looks like it is corner exit there as they come onto the main straight. He waits all the way until then, and the foot is down, and we are back underway with racing. 8 laps left in the Jinx Shifters AOSC 10, round number 5 at Barber Motorsport Park here in Alabama, USA. It's race 180. And we are back underway. Safety car was deployed there earlier. We had one on lap 5, and then we had one on lap 28.
And everyone has managed to jump away quite nicely. There's Shepherd in a good spot as they work up towards the little carousel section. They've both been able to jump off against Andrew Dyson as well, so that is in a good opportunity. The rest of the field just snaking its way through. Stovall with a move down into 7. He gets that one completed as well on Thomas Hinds, so some action already starting to head up.
Well, Hinds and Stovall have been sideways since the restart, I think, and Stovall was in front of him. Hinds has now got that position back, so he's moved into P10. So Jamie Stovall was gone back 1 position, but they were sideways through about the first 4 corners of the lap. He'll want to get that on back. He's made a big move. Stovall, he's up 3 positions. Hinds is up those 7 positions into P10. Kenneth Latta, though, impresses me at the moment, sitting in 7th position. He is up 6 and holding out a Jordan Ross on the charge and a Brett Loxton right behind him.
Absolutely, and I mean, these guys were battling just prior to that safety car. They're going to continue this little exchange for the next few laps. A little defensive there for Latta as he gets a little bit of a brake lock up through too, but he's just positioning that car everywhere he needs to hold off Jordan Ross behind, and that actually probably helps Bretton Hobson just ahead who now can set his sights firmly on Adam Briggs and not worry about these guys.
Jordan Ross, is that a little bit of contact there? I don't know. It's too close to call from where we see in the camera angles. But he is right up on the back of Kenneth Ladder, and the last thing he needs to do is be involved in an incident because he has been so unlucky in this series so far. And with Brett Loxton right behind him, we get a Constantina effect. There's a little bit sideways there for Ladder. Bit oversteer. Gets it under control and gets the Mustang back underway. Ross was pushing really hard prior to the safety car. You can see him under brakes. As the wheels go on the grass there for Ladder, that won't help him with the drive. Has to come back over onto the driving line. It looks like he manages to hold out Ross. Ross just not able to get that nose up in the inside of that part of the track. As they come around now, the final turn. No surprise no one's going to the pits. There we go. Looking for the apex of the corners there to try and get as smooth the run as they can onto the main straight in this drive. But Ladder just seems to pull away from him there. There's not a long front straight, is it? Just slides it in there too for Ross under brakes.
Yeah, if you can't get the exit through that final corner, it does make it very tricky to get the run, and we're starting to see that now. Stovall similarly has actually lost that spot again back to Thomas Hinds. We saw on the opening lap of the restart there, so a little bit of work for him to do. Matty Maskell still getting in and amongst it, and Brian Borg has dropped a couple of spots since the restart as well. Now finds himself in 16th position, just in the middle of this train, and Reece Keane all over the back of him. So those tyres are screaming for a bit of a reprieve here, as he's going to come under a huge amount of attack. And this could actually work well for Linsell as well, who's just in behind the script.
See that damage on the front of Kimmon's car in front of this pack. Aaron Gilbert behind him. Blake Warboys. There's the three. Warboys all over the back. Gilbert all over the back of Kimmon, just trying to get that moved up, but Kimmon not going to let him pass. He's got the elbows out. Here we go. Might be a move now for Gilbert. Warboys, so much curve, launches the car airborne. I don't know how that stayed on the track. So when I did a couple of laps earlier, when I hit the curve that much, it did not stay on the track at all. Here we go. Gilbert now gets a chance on Kimmon, so gives him a little bit of a reprieve there over Warboys, although Warboys has already come back and he looks like he's going to put the nose in. Gets it up on the pillar. Who's going to go through with him? Will it be Taliancic behind? Can he go through with him as well? No, they drive away now, so that's a nice one there for Kimmon here. Will get a little bit of a gap over the field now and on the inside, but it's a left-hander then a right-hander. He gets the move done, nudges him out into the wall. Redress there. We'll see if that's going to happen. I can't believe he's back on the track already.
He did well to keep it out of the wall there, because that was a quick section of the circuit to go off, and he's now fighting with Mackenzie. So Warboys yet to relinquish that spot after the contact. We'll wait to see what race control does with that. A little further down, some more hip and shoulder for Gilbert as Mackenzie gets into the door, and these guys are just starting to really cost themselves some position, as Jamie Dyke in the background struggling to get the traction in the Fisher Motorsports car.
Jacob Knight before, giving Mackenzie a little bit of a nudge as well. Here you go, another nudge from Knight. Oh, and Gilbert, he just can't get out of the wars tonight. He's if it's not his teammate, it's the rest of the field. Could he be the AJ Insurance Impact of the Round for 2 weeks in a row?
Well, could well be, and I think part of that probably due to the fact Norrie jumped in the car earlier in the week to have a run in it, so we'll be definitely not wanting to give that one up again, but it's been like dodging cars for these guys trying to work their way through, so we'll see what they've got left as Luke Page continuing on, working his way up just behind Luke Rosella, and Troy McGuire getting in and amongst it, and Rosella well out wide, just trying to get into the mind down and through turn one. Not going to happen at this phase.
Yeah, Troy McGuire just holds on to the racing line, and that's where you got to be fast. You got to stay on that racing line, keep the car nice and smooth, like we discussed earlier. As sideways coming out of there for Dial, Mike Dial. No, sorry, that was Henry King. Sorry, in the front. Slid the car out nicely as they come into the main straight. We go back now to Matty Brunt, and Greg Sharp right behind him. If you look up here, they've got a SimSport entry there. I can see that up on screen now. So Greg Sharp trying to make another position here. This is position number 27 for Brunt. As he goes wide, Sharp might be able to take advantage of this one. He can't get it done, unfortunately for him. And Brunt will hold on to that position number 27. as we only have 4 laps left in this race. We're on lap number 35 of 39. Plenty of battles going on. We had a safety car come out on lap 28, bunched the field up. We got back underway on lap 31. Dylan Rudd just up on screen. Now we head back to David Kimmon there. He's still got that damage on the front, but they have caught up to Brenton. He's just gone past Blake Warboys now. So Blake Warboys has got up behind Kimmon, and in front Brent Hitchke. Close this gap up. So Warboys on a charge. Hasn't done that redress from that earlier incident. So that'll be interesting to see what race control have to say about that. But Warboys going to keep pushing on at the moment, down 11 positions from where he started, in position number 31.
And for Warboys, that's all he can really do is just keep pressing on. He knows that race control will be looking at it, but he's just got to continue on with business as he is at the moment. He's got, let's just say, David Kidman still with that damage. I don't know why Kidman didn't get that repaired, because he was in on lap 20 for the pit stop. We thought that would have been covered, but I guess just trying to save any little bit of advantage you can for the last lap, because it's already been very chaotic as these guys work their way through, and they're still fighting to get the traction in these cars, and Kidman just drifted it out there wide as he puts the power down.
Yeah, getting around. Ross still in 8, Loxton behind him as we have a look up on screen at the moment. So we are on board with the Jink Shifters car of Brett Loxton. Ross is got a little bit of a lead over, is a little bit in front there, so there's about 1 second between them. Ladder and Ross are going to have a nice one, but it's Loxton and Hinds locked into this little battle now, you can see on screen.
Sideways out of 2.
Mate, there can't be much. Half these tyres in this field must be screaming, safety car, bring us home. Because they are a lot of pressure around this track. There we go, right up on the back of Hinds is Stovald. He's managed to make a position back over. Sorry, he was in a little bit of a battle earlier. Looks like someone has dropped it off there. No, it was Hinds and him who got into a battle, and now he's all over the back of Hinds again for Stovald.
Well, I think that was Damien Johnson that was involved in that as well, and Johnson now drops a couple of spots. He's got his teammate Kyle Stokes just starting to close back in as well, so might see a bit of a positional change between those two. But Stovald's looking pretty racy here, up 3 spots over the course of the race, and definitely room for a couple more as they work their way through to the last few laps here as continue this good fight on, and then just see how much movement is in the back of Loxton's car there.
Yeah, Hinds also just driving everything out of this car. Lots of oversteer being used too as they come around the corners, just sliding the car around, letting it do its thing as it tries to get some side bite in those tyres, whatever's left. Try and stop it from sliding around the corners. We complete another lap. Lap 38 of 39, so only a couple left to go in this one. James Scott still leading you now by about 2.7 seconds is the gap out in front. Oh, who's that, Varga? Is that Varga gone off?
Yep, Varga off, struggling there.
Dave Fridd will make up a position there, and now everyone behind him will be bunched up. That'll be Page, Rosella and Maguire. We'll be right up on the back of him now, so Varga's going to have to get a little bit defensive. Oh no, the big move down in the back. Maguire on Rosella, is it? Rosella comes on the crisscross, goes back. Maguire might, we go Rosella on the inside again, can't get it done though. Maguire looks like he might have got this move done in the Taipan Esports Mustang. It looks like he's going to hold on to it now. He's definitely got the move done unless Luke Rosella can get some drive out of the corner and try and put that nose back up on the back pillar. We head back to Dylan Rudd, who's in 4th position at the moment with Adam Briggs all over the back of him. Looks like Andrew Dyson's going to go lead away a little bit here. A tiny little gap opening up now, so the battle is going to be for 4th position now between Dylan Rudd and Adam Briggs. And the two Tim Riggs DPR cars are going to want to be together over the line once again. They were teammates in the Enduro. They were in the Enduro together, and they've been very close in the results in the last round as well. So they'll be trying to get the Dylan Rudd out of the way so they can finish 3 and 4.
Dylan Rudd really has not put a foot wrong at all tonight. I did start in third, also at one spot, but just driven faultlessly to keep the car where it is. So he'll definitely be looking forward to keeping it in that position and getting a nice haul of points. James Scott, what can you say about this man? Lost that 7-second advantage when that last safety car came out. Already gapped the field to 3/10. So just making hay while the sun shines. Last lap, a 23.3, so 3/10 quicker again than Corey Shepherd, and very ominous for him as he's going to come into the closing couple of corners for this race.
Yep, he's coming around to complete round number 5 here at Barber Motorsport Park. James Scott, the Logitech G Autos Esports, Holden Commodore. And here it is, the lights are flashing, gives the signal to the pits. Nice little lead. It comes in number 1. Corey Shepherd in number 2 as he crossed the line with Mr. Antenna car. Then it's Andrew Dyson, Dylan Rudd, Adam Briggs, Brendan Hobson right behind. Kenneth Ladder holds out Jordan Ross over Brett Loxton, Thomas Hinds. Jamie Stovall can't get past. Damien Johnson then crosses the line, and it's Kyle Stokes will come around in the Synergy Sim racing car. Greg Salon in 14th. Rob Bowden ends up in 15. Brian Borg maintains 16. I did see him up a little bit up for a lap or two there, so he didn't make any further. Aaron Dodd in 17, Matty Mascort in 18, Reese Keane in 20, and rounding out your top 20 is Sean Linsell. So they are still coming around to complete their laps, and the 03 car, that has been in the wars. Aaron Gilbert. Oh man, I'm just surprised it's still got doors on it. So it's still got a bonnet and doors on it.
And that's all you need to really still call it a car. See the rest of the guys work their way across the line, and very good racing. Nonetheless, Craig Healy, a good result for him, 47th, and Rick Varga did get that car home as well.
Yeah, so a number of cars there looks like they did not make it to the end of the race in the pits. So we actually got some cars in the pits, obviously trying to get some repairs done last minute, pulled in. James Scott doing the celebration burnouts, of course. And we say his name once again because he just keeps getting on the podium in the Logitech G Autos Esports entry. The Lone Ranger out there doesn't have a teammates out there helping him. He's doing all on his own and dominating here at Barber Motorsport Park once again. Gets out, qualifies number 1. He was the fastest in the pre-qualifying. Then he leads the race effectively from start to finish. Took the later pit stop, stayed out for another lap, but gets the car home. Doesn't have to conserve fuel at all in that one as he takes a nice bit of fun around here, sideways into pit lane here for him. Big round of applause and congratulations to James Scott once again. We'll catch up with him very shortly. Corey Shepherd once again has to be the bridesmaid as he comes in at number 2. Andrew Dyson, good to see the DPR car back onto the podium, and a bit of a change this week for them because last time it was Briggs, his teammate, who got on the podium and he just missed out. This week it will be Dyson in the 3rd position with Briggs back in 5. Well, it's going to be a lot to unfold, Dan and Norrie, because championship-wise, James Scott and Corey Shepherd just go away from the pack. Tom Freer doesn't finish the race. That's big news in the championship. Brian Borg ends up in 16, who was right behind him. Andrew Dyson was in 5, and he was 120 points, 136 points actually behind Tom Freer. But he's finished the race and done it in 3rd position. So he'll get a whole swag of points for this one.
Absolutely, and points are really the name of the game in this one. It's just clean, consistent finishes, and the guys out front are doing it. Jamie Stovall similarly had another good run just outside the top 10. I mean, he wasn't too far from getting in the top 10 in the points as well, so that's going to help his championship contention. One of the guys that probably not going to get a huge haul of points, and a little unfortunate for him, there will be Michael Taliancic, who will probably likely see slip a little further down the standings of this one.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out what their story is like. We know he missed out last week due to having to be evacuated due to the fires over in WA, but yeah, not on his normal race pace tonight. So hopefully we can catch up with him and find out exactly what's going on. But you know, some of the best things we can have about these races is talking to the people who actually get on the podium. And one guy who we continually talk to most weeks and is back again, James Scott. Congratulations, another win, round number 5 here at Barber Motorsport Park.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, that was not a bad race. sort of qualifying was really important around this track. Obviously, it was quite hard to pass. So yeah, I did a good lap early on in qualifying, and that really sort of set up my night a little bit.
Exactly, do you know when to take off on the restart? I mean, you've got a few corners to decide what you're going to do. Is there something you study what Corey Shepherd does so you can make sure you don't come under fire from him on the first corner?
I do watch my mirror a little bit, just to see if there is an opportunity to go, but sort of there wasn't tonight. So, I mean, this might sound a little bit stupid, but if I don't know what I'm going to go, then he certainly doesn't. So I sort of just went whenever I thought was good. So, yeah, that seemed to work pretty good.
No, and we did expect to see safety cars tonight. You got a couple of them. So, well, actually, me and Nori were talking earlier. We're surprised I only see two. So, it was a good night of racing. You dominated once again out in front. Took that pit stop a little bit later. Who do you need to thank for tonight?
Obviously all the guys at Altus Esports, all our great sponsors, Logitech G, Astro Gaming, Cube Controls, Own 3D, Race Tech Seats, and obviously you guys are putting on a great broadcast and all the series admin, and well done to the other podium getters.
All right, mate. Well, we're going to let you go because I'm sure you're sick of hearing us say your name again and again in the pre-race show, and we say it every race meet. But congratulations, dominating in series number 10. We've still got quite a few rounds though, and let's see how you go next week.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
All right, the bridesmaid. Well, that's what I'm naming him now because he always seems to be the bridesmaid in these races. Corey Shepherd, another second place. Definitely lots of silverware going into your house, virtual silverware this year.
Yeah, there is. Just don't have enough pace to take it to James yet. But yeah, hopefully he can get a few wins in the future.
We were asking him what his strategy was on the restart, whether he had a certain strategy. He looked at how you raced and he just said, if I don't know when I'm going to take off, then Corey doesn't. Does he give you any sort of indication when he's going to take off on the restarts to give you an advantage there, or you just got to wait and see?
Yeah, not really. It is pretty tricky to tell. Yeah, just as soon as you see him pulling away, just floor it.
And what do you reckon was the trickiest part of Barber Motorsport Park? Like, where did you find it the most difficult?
It's just a pretty tricky track in general, so it's just hard to be consistent and keeping it on the track. But overall, it's a really fun track.
You want to say anything to Borgie, mate? He got down 16.
Yeah, a bit unlucky tonight. He had a few mischiefs in qualifying, couldn't quite get the lap he needed in. But yeah, oh well, eyes forward to next week.
Just send him a message, mate. Let him know you'll mentor him next week, okay? Just tell him you'll be his mentor from now on. That's all we want to hear.
Yeah.
All right, mate, we'll let you go. Congratulations on second position. And we want to see a gold out of you before the end of the season. But we're 6 in. We've got 10 more to go. Oran Park might be it.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, I tell you what, good to catch up with Corey Shepherd, the bridesmaid, unfortunately, and I will have to send him a address this year if he ends up second in the championship. Third, though, on the podium is Andrew Dyson in the Simrigs DPR entry. Dyson, mate, good to see you back on the podium.
Hey guys, thanks for having me in again. It's good to have another DPR Simrigs.com car on the podium again. Getting a few of these now we are, so great work for the boys.
You take turns with your teammate, Adam Briggs. Is that what it is? We're getting on the podium?
You know, we don't strategize it, but it's working out pretty well. So we'll see if we can mix it up again next week.
Well, it's going to get you some good points here, actually, because we're speaking about this. Tom Freer didn't finish the race. Brian Borg ended up in 16. Does that give you a bit of hope that maybe you might jump up a position or two in the championship points?
Yeah, right. No, I didn't actually realize where they finished. That's really unlucky for those boys. Yeah, it should hopefully bring me up a little bit. I think at the moment I'm probably looking a little lower than where I should be, and so is Briggs, to be honest. We've both had one really bad round each, so we probably should be a little further up. And I reckon this week, if they finished further back and we were behind them, it might look a little more like where we're supposed to be, I guess.
How do you equate the success, I suppose? Round one wasn't probably successful for the DPR boys, but since then that you've had this slow, steady charge where you've both sort of been up the pointy end of the field. Is it just practice or car setup? Like, what are you guys doing to make both of you so consistent, I suppose, and up there at the pointy end of the field?
It's probably a bit of both of what you're saying there. I mean, we're always on and trying to, well, not always, but we're on as much as we can, and we're trying to run laps, and we all work really well together with setups and stuff. I mean, Briggs was just saying earlier, how great the boys have worked together this week. Working really hard on the setup, cutting laps. Even guys who didn't race tonight, like Worley, other guys like Neil Pearson, they've ran laps during the week and they didn't race tonight. So it's a big team effort for all the boys to put in. And not only are they running laps and contributing to this car setup, they're talking about what they're doing in different parts of the track and how they're attacking this corner or how they're taking it a little easy here and there. It's all that sort of stuff with a lot of guys in the team helps out a lot. And myself, Briggs, who else was racing tonight? Reese Keane, Daniel Misdale, we're all super appreciative of all the hard work the boys do.
Well, you better run us through your sponsors for the crowd.
Yeah, no worries. Well, like I said, I really want to thank the team this week. They worked really hard on setup, and I felt like I probably wasn't really going that great with the track this week. As it turns out, I'm probably not really doing myself any. I'm talking myself down a bit. So, pretty surprised to be on the podium. But all the boys put in a lot of hard work to have a great qualifying setup, great race setup, and I didn't really put into that. So I can't thank all the boys enough for that. Simrigs.com, our sponsors, Southwell Lifts and Hoists, Benmax Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Services, are great supporters of us, and we thank them a lot. And of course, we thank all the series sponsors and you guys for bringing the broadcast tonight. We love it. Thanks so much.
Right, we're glad we can bring it to you, and congratulations on the virtual bronze medal there. You can take home, crack yourself a cold one in it, and enjoy the night.
Definitely. Yeah, thanks, guys. See you later.
All right, well, hopefully we'll see you back on the podium at Oran Park. Well, Dan and Norrie, it was another eventful night. I don't know how we're going to pick the impact of the round. I didn't even look at the photo finish. We're going to have to go back and look at everything throughout the week. That sounds like you and me are going to have to catch up for a beer.
Yeah, it was a really interesting race, that one. Obviously, we kind of expected that incident like we saw at lap 1, and very unfortunate for the guys involved in that, that it dropped the likes of Sebastian Flock all the way down to the back of the field effectively as the train worked its way through. Other than that, the racing wasn't too bad at all. There's some really interesting strategy calls. Really surprised to see the likes of Borg try that alternate strategy, as he said, come in on lap 9. Didn't quite work out for him with that final safety car, but really interesting strategy. Put himself in some clear air and was able to make the most of it with the tyres in hand.
Yeah, Norrie, who is your big movers tonight? Who do you think is... who do you think was bad luck and who do you think had some good luck?
Well, finally, Jordan Ross had some good luck up until it went wrong for him. And then, Shane Ewens was a bit unlucky to get into the wall there at the end, and Tom Free had a massive moment tonight, and he's out of the race. So that's unfortunate, but I'm just excited about going to Oran Park. How good is it to go back to Oran Park?
Well, we've got a 2-week break too, so there's a lot of practice time. That's another big factor, isn't it? That we've got a huge amount of practice time for Oran Park. We come back on the 26th of February. We're going to give you next weekend off.
And expect a lot of guys to put in a huge amount of time to get the most out of the cars there as well. So, while we might be on a week's break, they won't be resting at all.
I'll be snooping the pit lane for cars to steal.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, guys, put your pit lane garage doors down now. Norrie is going for a walk. He will find something. So he will definitely be looking for those. If you're going to practice session at Oran Park, make sure he's not in the session because he's looking for another car to get around Oran Park and go through with the pre-race show. Thanks, everyone, for joining us here. Of course, it's been another fantastic round number 5 coming from Barber Motorsport Park here in Alabama, USA. It is race 180. All thanks to Jinx Sifters. And, of course, couldn't thank our other sponsors enough as well. Simrigs.com, Sydney Computers, Sixth Gear Imagery, Race Circuit Art Australia, AJ Insurance Services, and, of course, Track Cams for Gourmets. Shout out to Nick Hausler, our director in the background there with all the camera angles. Big shout out to him for making sure the stream's coming to you. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We really enjoy the crowd, and stay tuned for the post-pre-race show, I suppose. The post and pre-race shows will give you the impact of the round and will also the photo finish. Until then, we've got 2 weeks to make it all happen. We'll see you soon.